I was walking up and then I said that.
I didn't comment, but I usually, I don't know, so. Good evening, everybody. It's 6:03 PM, and this is the call to order for our work session of March 24th, 2025. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Clerk, can you please read the roll?
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle. Here. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel. Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Here.
Okay. Madam Clerk, could you read adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by an annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Desi Talk, and News India Times on November 18th, 2024, and posted main lobby municipal complex on that same date.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for two great losses we had from our Public Safety Department this week. First, for the passing of retired Captain Andy Fresco and the passing of firefighter John Lumaniello Jr. Please. Thank you. Can we have any questions on or comments on the review of the minutes? Seeing none. Administrative agenda, the appointment of the planning board member Setharaj Chinasme as Class 4 board member, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Proposed ordinances, any council comments or questions about the ordinances? Okay. Now we go from the business administrator, A through C. Any questions or comments?
Council President,
Yes,
there are two ordinances, right?
yes,
Okay. Thank you.
yes. One was moved from a resolution to an ordinance. Okay. All right, back from 7A, B, and C. Any questions or comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman
Just a
Brescher.
quick one. Can I get a list of how many trophies we give away? The trophies. C. Yes. Yeah, if I can just get a list of what we give out. That would be it. Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to get my questions over to the business administrator over the weekend. So
Okay, all right, so that's something that can be forthcoming for you?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anything else from 7A, B, and C? Okay, moving on to 8 from the Department of Finance, A through E.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patil.
on D and E, like we can see the binders right on our table. Do we know, again, I'm surprised that we have the introduction without even looking at the document. I know the adoption will be 2 weeks, but do we know when is the hearing, the public hearing of the budget?
Council President, if I may.
You may.
Typically, once you introduce, that's when we supply the binders. However, we wanted to do it earlier. The budget cannot be introduced in 2 weeks. We have to wait the 30 days, so it looks more like the first meeting in May.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay. Other comments or questions? Okay. Department of Planning and Engineering, A through D.
Council President,
Councilman Shmuel?
on A, could I get a clarification exactly what this is about? Is this for inspections, or what are we doing for $317,000?
Councilman Coyle, Councilman Pointer, you have,
You're referring to the gravity sewers, so
Yeah.
these are for the inspections.
Inspection?
for the assessment and then the beginning part of it. So inspection and assessment for both.
Why so expensive for inspections?
We're talking about all of the utility throughout the township.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Council President.
Yes,
To
Councilman
the
Coyle.
business administrator, is this part of the camera CT system?
It's part of the ACO, the consent order.
And part of this contract, is it, they're going to be scoping the lines with the camera, or is that a separate?
That's part of it, to do the scoping.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Brescher?
Yes, can I get the, I was trying to find Phase 1, but I couldn't find it online. Could I get Phase 1 sent to me tomorrow or so? This is Phase 2 for
Sure.
A, I'm sorry, same subject, for the sewers.
Sure, we'll get that to you.
And then D, can I get the backup documents for, now this is for like an affordable housing program, and this would go against our COA, I would presume also, correct?
Yes.
Can I get the criteria of this one right here? I guess how much the home was or the home would be, and how much of a down payment they're putting down, and how much they make to qualify. I think it's a good program. I like it. I just don't understand exactly how it could work with the cost of homes here in Edison. So that's what I'm trying to find out, to make sure that the mortgages and all that stuff can work out with that. Because, right, what I was looking at was if we did this more often, I mean, that could take care of maybe 70 to 90 of our requirement, with the money that we have available to us.
Sure. Did you get the backup with regards to the down payment and what?
That's what I
It's
was.
allotted?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, like the down payment, what the mortgage would be on it, what the maximum amount that you qualify for this, because I don't know if it's 40,000 or 50.
Sure. In the backup, it does explain in terms of what you would qualify with the number of bedrooms and the pricing.
Okay.
If that's not clear, I can certainly provide you a
Yeah,
different.
I'm just looking to see, like, I'll tell you what happened. It was a discussion that happened where we were talking about our affordability, and I said we do this once or twice a year with certain people. I said the problem that I see with it is we give $100,000. I think the cheapest house maybe you can find here is maybe $400,000. So if you give $100,000, you need a $300,000 mortgage, and then how does somebody qualify, being that the dollar amount that they have to make is so small?
So the attorney can correct me if these are already qualified as affordable housing units. So the pricing is a bit different than what the market value.
That's correct.
So these are already affordable housing?
Yes, these are already part of our plan, correct.
Okay, and could I get a list of those? The
List
homes that
of-
are part of our affordable housing?
Sure, we can provide the affordable housing plan, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have asked me about this. I just don't know enough about it, so I'd like to know what I can recommend for people to do.
Absolutely.
Council
All right,
President.
thank you.
All right. Anyone else for
Council
9A
President.
through D?
Council
Okay.
President.
Yes, Councilman Coyle?
I just want to thank this council for supporting affordable housing. I will share the contract with Councilman Brescher, which I have. This purchase price, it seems to me, is $239,000. They're putting down $5,997.50. Their mortgage is $227,905, and the balance of the purchase price is $5,997. So somewhere between this purchase price, of course, through the BA, she mentioned these houses are already affordable homes, which are discounted and not sold at market value. There's a combination of a down payment that they would have to give, and I imagine our support is what's on this agenda, which is remarkable. So, great opportunity. I will share this with my colleague, and I have a copy if anybody needs it. Thank you.
Thank you, you, Councilman Coyle. Anyone else? Okay, on to 10 from the Department of Public Works, A through C.
I'm not going there.
Questions, comments, A through C? Okay. All right, 11 from Department of Water and Sewer, A and B. Okay. 12, Department of Recreation, A. Okay. 13, Chief of Fire, A. No?
No, listen, I'm glad to see that this is back on here, because I know we pulled off
Yes.
the repair in the past, and I didn't get a reason why. I guess maybe the numbers just didn't work out. So it's good to see that, you know, we're getting somebody on contract to take care of this. Thank you.
14, we've added B, which is, we're adding a transfer of a liquor license to a hotel. So A and B, any questions about, from number 14, Township Clerk? Okay. All right, we move on to oral petitions and remarks. Lois?
Lois Tarr, 52 Reeder Road, Edison, New Jersey. Have the floor.
You do.
On behalf of the Cultural Arts Commission, I would like to let everyone know that we've now appropriated 2 walls down there for short-term exhibits. We'd like to invite any cultural, nonprofit, cultural or artistic group to participate in an exhibition of their work or their culture. To please, if they're interested, they can contact the Mayor's Office, Mary McAfoy, and get an application, or you can get one online. Hope we get some more people so we can spread the exhibits out and make them more valuable to the whole community. Thank you.
Lois, may I ask, are the 2 walls in the gallery or are they outside?
In the gallery.
In the gallery, okay. Thank you very much.
They're vacant right now. We cleaned them off so that they're vacant right now, hoping that we were going to have an exhibit for April, but seems to might have fallen through. I'm not sure about the, you know the problem with that.
Yes, yes.
So, but now the wall's there so people can see there's a wall to fill.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Thomas Leckie, Netherwood Circle. A few years ago, the town council passed an ordinance, I guess making it illegal to nail signs up to what's called telephone poles, light poles, and they're starting to come around again. Just wonder whose responsibility it is to, track them, call the person that's responsible for it, and to take them down and or fine them. So we need to start doing some, taking stuff like that, as well as a couple of months ago you passed an ordinance for, I guess, lights on houses on the second floor. There's like a ton of violations out there. Who enforces these ordinances so that they wind up going and getting, and the people go and are held accountable for it? Secondly, Christmas lights are only meant to be put up, or holiday lights are only meant to be put up as temporary installations. Per the National Electrical Code, they're only allowed to be up 90 days. They're not made with the same, what's called rigors of permanent installation. But you see these all through the town. Who monitors that? Who controls that? It appears that, I'm going to get sarcastic here, the only ordinance that you monitor is the 4 minutes. That's the one where you hold everybody's feet to the fire. Sorry for the sarcasm, but as you drive around the town, you see a lot. Me as just a Joe Schmo citizen sees all these what's called violations, but they're never addressed. You need to the town needs to, if they want to make this town a perfect town, they need to start enforcing the laws and the ordinance on the books. Secondly, Ordinance 9A for that $317,000 for inspection and assessment. If you say, okay, standard engineering rate might be $250 an hour on average for that, that's like over 1,200 hours for an individual to assess and write a report. Seems a little seems a little excessive. Has that been bid out? Is that just given to a firm that the town has, you know, a working relationship with? We gonna get what we asked for, so we don't wind up with the same issues that we have with the 10 million or the $5 million overrun with that sports complex by the Edison Jets. I'm just little questions, but we need to enforce ordinances and we need to hold contractors' feet to the fire. Thank you.
Tom, may I ask, the signs that you're talking about that are on poles, are we talking about political signs or something else?
No, power washing. If you take a drive up Churchill Road and you'll see them, they're mounted like 8 feet in the air. So they had to go and put them up. They had to put them up with a ladder or something like that. The whole thing was, I think the original ordinance was to prevent, let's say, the telephone workers from having to, you know, worry about getting stuck with nails as they were climbing up the telephone poles. But I mean, it's really kind of, you know, chintzy and cheap when you start seeing these signs attached to all these poles around the town.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with regard to, he was talking about the bright lighting on the second floors, there are the ordinances against that. Also asking about 9A, about was this bid out? And of course, this is the second phase of this contract that we have with them. But Sonia, can you provide anything more for this gentleman? No? Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, Joyce.
Joyce Ship, Edison, New Jersey. Was an ordinance you passed that would be $100 for each apartment about inspection, correct?
Yes.
Yes, because person that lives in the apartment asked me, how would that affect them? You know, will they have to swallow the costs? Because, you know, they're seniors and they don't have that much money. So they're wondering how much of that they're going to have to swallow, because if you give it to the landlord and you put all that money on them, it comes back to them. And as he was talking about signs, we have all these like signs like popping up all over the neighborhood. Burglars go to jail, beware of crime, whatever. And like he said, nothing is being monitored but speech in this town. That's the only thing that's being monitored. Nothing else is being monitored. So can you give me an answer to tell the older woman about the $100 cost that she'll probably have to absorb because of this ordinance that you guys passed?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to our attorney.
Sure. Thank you, Council President. Yes, the council adopted an ordinance to establish a fee on landlords for every unit, $100. That there was a lawsuit filed against the township. It is currently in litigation, so we have not imposed the $100 fine. I will be updating the governing body in closed session tonight on the status of the litigation, but to date, there has been no implementation of that ordinance, and probably won't be the case until the case is, we will not impose it until the case is resolved.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Next. Christo? Sorry, sir.
Am I recognized?
You are.
Thank you very much for recognizing me. I came in today. I saw this posted up. I'm going to save it. I'm going to send it to the fire organization. There is no legal statute. It's a request. I can deny your request. I only have to follow the law. But I'm not going to waste my time with this. As many of you know, I haven't been allowed at many, many council meetings recently. City Hall, the police station, denied services for my township. And for what reason? Through the chair to Captain Revelle. not attacking you, but for what reason? The business administrator filed a frivolous report against me, a VASPA order. A VASPA order is a shield for sexual assault victims, and instead, Edison Township used it as a sword to go after a critic of the government. Shame on all of you. I beat that VASPA order. I have a copy of it here, if you would like to make a copy of it. Absolutely disgusting. I did not meet any of the criteria for a VASPA order, yet for whatever reason, the BA marked down lewdness, sexual assault. Are you kidding me? Stalking and cyber harassment? And my only interactions with her are at this council meeting through the chair to Councilman Brescher. I remember you making those statements of the attorneys spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to find ways to keep me from coming to these council meetings. Could that have been one of their tactics? You can answer that at the end. But that's what it seems like to me. Absolutely disgusting. You know, it's the holy season. We're in the holy season now, so I'm gonna stay as respectful as possible. 4 of you banned the American flag. Yes, Joe Coyle, you banned the American flag. You can call it prop, you can call it this. When someone was waving the American flag, you had zero integrity to stop what was going on, to stop it, and have the police leave them alone. You banned the American flag. You'll bully anybody up here, but you cannot debate me about the American flag because you know I know the truth, how it started with the anonymous mask. And through the chair to Captain Revelle. Captain Revelle, you're most to blame than anybody, not just Councilman Ish Patel. Am I lying that for weeks I called you before every council meeting asking the police to teach them the law and to ask them to stop? And I just wanted to do my constitutionally protected activity and wear a mask? All you guys had to do was the right thing. Stop them from violating my rights, and the national flag ban would have never happened. It would have never made international news. So whose fault is it? Is it Councilman Ish Patel's fault? Is it Joe Coyle, John Pointer, Asaph Schmoll's fault? Is it the chief of police's fault? Or is it your fault that I called you? Am I lying to you, Captain Revelle, that I called you several times asking for help from the Edison Police Department? You guys could have prevented it. You guys could have prevented it. And the VASPA order is in retaliation to keep me from coming to the meetings. I'm filing a tort.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
I'm going to file a tort claim and I'm going to sue.
Time is up. Thank you.
I can have 2 seconds.
Asking you to sit
I
down.
understand. You can give me 2 seconds like you give other people 5 seconds.
Asking you to sit down, sir.
Okay, I
Thank
see
you.
how I'm treated differently.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
I am El Rampador with sativacross.org. We're a 501c3 in New Jersey, fighting for disability rights, fighting for cannabis patients' rights. And I'm here still because of the issue from a couple of months ago where they made people go up this side of the mountain here, the disabled people, lady with one leg, disabled vet. And I got a problem this week because I'm out here advocating for people in wheelchairs. And last meeting, we had someone in a wheelchair say something really horrible. Using racism to fight ableism is not a thing. And the things that were said by that man in the wheelchair really disgusted me. And I don't even know what to say because I don't use that stuff, those words, and I don't feel that way. I don't think that way. And for someone to think that way, who's already suffering in a wheelchair, you should have some more compassion and empathy for other people. And it really upset me to hear those words spoken in this room, disparaging an entire group of people. I'm apologizing on behalf of him, and I'm still going to advocate for that guy, but really, that was pretty ignorant to say that crap. If you want to talk about Genital Joshi, talk about him losing his election next season, because that's going to happen. That's what I'm talking about. That's the angle. Until he changes it. There you go. I love political theater. This is great. This is great stuff. So yeah, I'm here for the wheelchair access. It was really disgusting to see that, and I'm still fighting for that. I don't have my extra wheelchair today, but maybe Evelyn will lend you her wheelchair if you want to go up that side of the mountain. The other thing I want to talk about is bamboo. I really love bamboo. I think it's a great thing. It cleans our air. It gives us oxygen to breathe. It cleans the soil. We live in New Jersey. We live in a concrete jungle. We live with chromium-filled soil. We need more bamboo. We need more hemp, too, but we need more bamboo. You already have an ordinance that talks about invasive species, but for some reason you want to be, I don't know if it's a thing, but it's racism towards bamboo. If there's a thing for it, or somebody who hates certain plants, maybe there's a thing for that. I don't know. But to pick apart bamboo is shameful, because bamboo is very, very good for the environment, very good for you. They were here first. You built your houses on top of what God put here. You put your concrete on top of what God put here. They were here first. We need bamboo. We need more plants. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
You don't have to wait. You can.
No, let him use his time. I'm going to let him use it.
It's his 4 minutes. If he dies, he dies. I yield 1 second.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Nobody asked him if he was all right?
I'm okay.
Why am I chasing the camera system tonight to have my sign shown? Because the camera angles are now back to the way they were. You guys just don't get it. You keep treating symptoms and ignore the disease. You ignore the disease. I can't chase the camera. I can't chase the camera. The only one who seemed to thoroughly understand this issue since I've ever got to Edison was Councilman Richard Brescher. I don't understand why you guys don't realize what you're doing is just creating more problems. Changing the camera systems back, making me chase the camera system so I could have my sign here that says the BA is full of BS, calling multiple lies, lying about compliance over here, saying that a survey was done. What survey? Now the township's position is that the law firm, after the fact, doctored up some compliance by saying that the building was ADA compliant because it was built before the ADA law? This is acceptable? If I say flag ban again? If I point out the fact that Joe Coyle banned the flag, is he gonna cut me off for the 4th time? I've never seen someone so triggered by the word flag ban. When you have one time it's an incident, 2 times it's a repeat in behavioral pattern, 3 times constitutes chronic chaotic disturbances, which is the same term that this administration gave out to the media to talk about our activism, that we were devolving, turning into chronic chaotic disturbances, which is what Councilman Coyle, I'm not even gonna call him Councilman Coyle, Joe, that's what Joe did. So triggered, and then the video within 24 hours has 100,000 hits all over media platforms. But we're not going to correct the problem? I mean, whether you're good for public service or you're just a politician, that's one debate, but does this man even have the self-control to remain composed. I mean, this is absolutely wild. You know, I go on someone like Councilman Brescher's Facebook page. I see him with posts trying to fix issues, trying to correct issues. That's what's good for public service. There's public service and there's politicians. And politicians are no good for the taxpayers. They're no good for nothing but trying to advance their own political, financial agenda. I had multiple people reach out to me within the last 2 weeks telling me about Councilman Coyle, telling me about Joe being a bully, and he's been this way ever since high school. So I'm gathering content, and I'm going to write a truth piece. I wanted to hear more about these bullying instances, but everybody seemed to want to talk about J Dynasty Restaurant, all these other issues. But I learned a lot without even asking, because there's not a lot of people who support that kind of behavior, you know? And for a councilman, repeatedly, you got my name, Joe. The township got my name in the form of a tort claim. So you got it. And it's got nothing to do with respect. Actually, it does. You don't have the decency to respect my rights. You feel challenged when I come up here and remain anonymous. You take it that personal? That is a gigantic issue. You can't respect my rights. So yeah, it is about respect. You are incapable of respecting my rights to come up here and remain anonymous. You know what that's protected by, Joe? The First Amendment of the United States Constitution, the New Jersey State Constitution, the OPMA, Supreme Court rulings, back over and over, heavily protected. And you think it's a thing about me not giving respect? Why not try to correct the issue? Same 4 people that banned the flag are the same 4 people that took away our minutes, who didn't want to give it back. So keep treating the symptoms and ignore the disease. How great has that been working out for you? And did Richard Brescher ever get answered by the constitutional lawyer? Because this is absurd at this point.
Thank you, sir. Next, anyone else?
Any answer for that? Or? No?
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Vinny, South Jersey News. Does the lawyer run the meeting, or do you run the meeting, Margot Harris? Because it seems like he likes to tell people to do things before he bounces back at you. Joe, we missed you last time. We were all waiting for you, but I got something more important first, so I can actually play this now.
I was going to go around, but you don't have to be a bitch about it.
Can you suspend his time, Marlon?
Would you like my husband to come here and talk to you?
Okay.
So we can do that too.
I'm sorry, sir, but this case has been adjudicated. I'm going to ask you to stop. I'm going to ask you to stop.
Litigation is over.
Litigation is over, but at this point, this is harassment. This is a
No, it's
harassment.
not. No,
It
this is something
harassment.
that happened in these chambers.
This is my judgment, sir. This is the judgment I'm making, and I'm going to ask you, if you don't stop, I'll ask you to sit down. You'll forfeit your time. All right.
It's not harassment.
Your time is forfeited. You need to sit down now.
It's my time.
You need to, I'm telling you,
It's
you
my
need
time.
to sit down. You need to sit down.
This is yes, it's limited. No, let me talk. It's
I'm asking him to sit down. That is correct.
so you wanted me to removed.
I'm asking you to sit down.
I played the meeting here in the room. You're right, it is limited public forum. This is the time and the place and the manner.
Sir, I'm asking you to sit down. No one is taking you out, but
My time
if
is
you,
forfeited
if you,
for
that's,
playing something that happened in these chambers.
that is my judgment. That is
They're
my,
playing with the fucking cameras over here.
that is my judgment, sir. And if you do not sit down, I'm going to ask you to leave. I'm going to ask, if you don't sit down, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Then ask me to leave, because I'm not sitting down.
All
It's
right,
my
I'm going to
time.
ask you to leave then. I'd prefer you do that on your own and not with the police, but this is the order of decorum.
I want to be clear. If I don't leave the room, will I be arrested? I'm asking you to sit down. That's all. No, if I don't leave, will I be arrested? But will I be arrested? But will I be arrested? Will I be arrested? Will I be arrested? I'll take that as a yes.
They just forfeited his time. That's not okay. No, he doesn't have his time forfeited. Right now, we don't have a meeting here.
His time is forfeited, and he is to sit down. If he does not sit down, he needs to leave the room.
And then what? This is
The police would then escort him out.
State of New Jersey,
We have business to conduct here, and I'm not going to let this get in the way of the business to be conducted here. I'm asking you, sir, to leave. It's my judgment, and it is my purview to make that consideration. Okay, yes. Does anyone else want to speak? Okay. All right, can we have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all right. We now move to council committee reports. I will start with you, Councilman Brescher.
I have none at this time.
Okay, Councilman Coyle?
Thank you, Councilman Harris. I just first wanted to thank you for the moment of silence of two great public safety officials, one retired, Captain Andy Fresco, and firefighter John Luminello. Thank you. Thank you for that. I also want to mention that the Public Safety Committee is asking for a meeting next week, and we'll report back to the council on what we've discussed. I also want to refer to improvements that have been happening for public safety, and I'd like to refer to Captain Ravel to make comment on public safety.
Okay. I'm sorry, is Captain Ravel? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Coyle. So lately, I've been getting a lot of questions about some of the signage that's been around town talking about increases in crime in Edison, and there's a concern that some of the council members have, and we've been getting some calls from concerned residents about it. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that the UCR, which is the Uniform Crime Statistics that people are talking about and that have been reported in different publications, are going back to 2021, 2022, and 2023. As a result, people are trying to make the intimation that these statistics are relevant today, when in fact, crime is trending down today. We have multiple UCR reports that are out from 2 years ago. The 2023 Uniform Crime Report statistics are an outlier. COVID-19 impacted uniform crime statistics in the way that hasn't been seen before on the national level, where we've seen 2020 in March, the COVID pandemic occurred. From 21 and 22, we had a lot of people staying at home with all the restrictions that were placed on people not going to work. And a lot of the statistics were skewed in 23 when we came back out of the pandemic. We had reported burglaries that weren't being reported before because people were home and they weren't being reported, and other statistics that were skewed as a result of that. One of the things that's happening now, because of the limitations with the USTR statistics, which are based on preliminary statistics that aren't followed up on because they're entered and don't give the opportunity for investigation, a lot of these statistics are not accurate. And we, as a local agency, develop statistics in-house that are different from those uniform crime statistics. The UCR statistics cover 18,000 different agencies across the country and are used by the FBI to evaluate statistics on a national basis. A more accurate accounting of that is done at a local level, which is what we're doing. And I can inform you through the work, I've spoken to Captain Hammer in the Detective Bureau, who has provided me with preliminary statistics for 2025 that indicate that crime is down in those categories. If that answers your question, sir.
Thank you. Do you can you provide some knowledge of the home invasions or the car thefts and the decrease in car thefts?
Yes, I can. So just to give you a little background information, back prior to the pandemic, the main driver of burglaries in Edison Township was daytime burglaries, and they were fueled by people being at work and houses being empty. During the pandemic, we put people back into people were in houses restricted. Those crimes were not as accessible to the criminals trying to perpetrate them. And then in 2023, we saw a rise in burglaries as a result of that. But we also saw a new crime trend. Criminals have started to utilize the hours when people are sleeping, and the trend has been based off of people trying to obtain and steal high-end automobiles. As a result of that, we are in the UCR world, which is where it's reported out of our record bureau, the highest crime is reported from the incident. So if you do an incident report that involves a theft of a high-end motor vehicle and the house was burglarized to gain access to the key fob to start that car, then those crime statistics will indicate that a burglary occurred and won't account for the theft of the automobile. So that's why we see a decrease in automobile thefts and an increase in burglaries to residences. So they have a new system that we're online and in Q4 to replace the UCR statistical reporting. It's called NIBRS, and that will be more selective and include information that will parse out the details of these incidents and provide more specific details about what's driving that crime statistic.
Thank you, Captain. I will refer to our meeting we'll have in the next week and sit with our committee to discuss further. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
If I may ask, Captain Revel, do we have any comparative statistics for surrounding towns like Woodbridge that have similar populations with regard to these home invasions?
Absolutely, and those statistics and all statistics, one of the things that I would like to mention about this is that through the Chief of Police and Mayor Joshi, they were one of the leaders in the state of New Jersey in lobbying the legislature to change the laws based on these home invasions. And this was done statewide. And Chief Bryan has had many conversations with police chiefs from around the state about what we're doing in Edison, because we have seen a great decrease in these home invasion burglaries. And these home invasion burglaries are basically, I know I said this at the last council meeting I was at, they're transitory and random, meaning that you have crews of people coming from out of town. I don't believe that in the course of these activities, they even know that they're in Edison. And we've seen similar cases in Metuchen and Woodbridge on the same evenings that these crimes are also occurring in Edison. And as a result of that, we've coordinated with these other agencies in an effort to collaborate with them to try to get these rates down and to make a dent in this. But it's something that is a constant work in progress. The legislation, although it's passed, we haven't seen the adjudication of one of these cases as of yet. So once that happens, you'll also see that as a deterrent where less people will be committing these crimes because of the penalties that are involved. So it's not just Edison, not just Woodbridge, not Metuchen, it's statewide, and it's a major problem in the state of New Jersey.
So if we were to put us on a graph with Woodbridge, for example, would they be kind of parallel in terms of the COVID years versus since the COVID years?
I have not personally done the analysis of that, but we can get that to you. We can look into that and get that to you with a side-by-side analysis.
Yes, that would be very useful to see. Thank
Absolutely.
You. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Council President, I also wanted to report on public safety.
Sure.
On Public Works.
Sure.
We are going to plan a committee meeting, which Councilmember Patel is on and Councilmember Pointer in Public Works. But I've had some discussions offline with our Public Works team, and we're looking at a calendar of maintenance for this spring and summer throughout the town, which includes street sweeping and potholes. I also had discussion with zoning. One of the members of the public came up here to discuss the signs and why they're being posted on poles. One of the reasons why we have not caught up with that, because we recently had a big retirement of Carl Zimmerman. I think Carl, who's in the back room, knows he took down more signs than anybody in this town. and that was his job in zoning. Although not an official zoning officer or a zoning inspector, he certainly acted on behalf of the town and made that happen. I hope that they share his work with someone else to replace what he did. So we are aware of it. I can tell you that I think back in 1990, Carl Zimmer and I were the first to take down signs, and we offered $1 for every sign that was taken down, which created a job for Carl Zimmerman in that department from part-time to eventually full-time. But since his retirement, I don't think they have someone that's going out there like he did, climbing poles and taking them down. But I can promise you through the administration, the council president, we'll make sure we get on it. If anyone from the public can report where they see a sign and give us specifics, I'm quite sure they will get on that. No different than any zoning issue, we need to know the location and the address or specifics. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Sorry. Sir, you're out of order. Sir, you are out of order. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to Councilman Patel.
Just wanted to, we're going to have a meeting for the Stevensville Parkway bike path with the engineering department on Wednesday, and I will report back, and I'll have a little more to say during the discussion.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Patil? Any committee?
None at this time.
Okay. Councilman Shmuel? Okay, Council Vice President Pointer?
None at this time, Council President.
Okay. For myself, just, we had the Cultural Arts Commission meeting on March 11th, and talking about Women's Health Month, but History Month, I'm sorry. But unfortunately, we did not get the materials that we needed from the administration in order to do an exhibit for Women's History Month, and we're almost done, and that's really a missed opportunity. So the Jazz Festival, which is not going to be affiliated with Middlesex County, but the Edison Jazz Festival is going to be at least tentatively scheduled for excuse me, sir, thank you, for 9/6 at the Senior Center. Excuse me, I can hear you, and it's disruptive. I'm asking you to stop. We are looking to do a raffle fundraiser, and we're looking to get a license for that. We are looking to get vendors for this particular event. Still looking to paint the PSE&G utility boxes, and we just need to work with them and see if we can get them painted on some of the major roads as well as murals. The next session is April 8th. That is my committee report. We move on to points of light. Anyone have points of light? I attended the event that was held at the JCC last, I believe it was Thursday, and this was the funds that were benefiting the Hands of Hope. So it was the volleyball game that was between the police and fire, and the loser of the police and fire, which was fire, played the J.P. Stevens team. And I don't know if it was actually J.P. Stevens, if they were staff or if they were students. J.P. Stevens defeated the fire department, and then they defeated the police department, so congratulations to J.P. Stevens. And the best thing is that we raised $750 for Hands of Hope, which Charlie Tamaro does such a great job with that. And while I'm speaking of Charlie Tamaro, I want to congratulate him and the family because his son got married yesterday. And I know Eid starts next Monday, I believe, so I want to wish a happy and blessed Eid. Monday, April 7th, Team Edison will be hosting their annual Police Unity Tour at the Brownstone from 5 to 9 p.m. And again, the proceeds to that, there are going to be raffles with that. Proceeds go towards the Unity Tour. Important changes in the April meeting schedule. Wednesday, April 16th is now going to be a combined meeting. Monday, April 28th is the work session after that, and Wednesday, April 30th is the regular meeting. The changes will both be advertised and posted on the website. So let me move on to discussion items. Councilman Shmuel, anything that you wanted to address?
No, we already addressed it
Okay.
earlier. Thank you, Council President.
Very good. Councilman Patil?
Thank you, Council President. Let me start with the old items here. The first one, I did receive the traffic reports, so we're good. Sage Architect, we have in the closed session, we'll discuss that. The status on the rider DPW tree planting, Sanya, is there any schedule on that? The fencing was done, but I was told that the trees will be planted that will shield the DPW garage and or DPW area and the residents, because they can see the.
Sure. So usually planting season is upon us, so that would be forthcoming, but I will double check. You just looking for tree planting?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how it was planned, but again, I don't know the schedule, so if you can help me on that. The next one is Clara Barton Amber Avenue roads. We discussed that. I was given the number in terms of the dollar amount that PSCG is going to reimburse us, but I was not happy. The reason I don't think that's a good enough amount that PSCG is committing. So if you can find out from engineering, what is the linear mileage of all the roads that were dug by PSCG? And then we can do the costing to see if it is a fair thing for Township to accept that money. The next one is a long-standing flooding remediation. I don't know where it stands. We keep talking every budget season saying, hey, we have funded some architectural or engineering study. All that things was sorted out. But if you can please find out if there is any plan to address or mitigate any of those areas or all of those areas. And I'll continue to keep the old items until there are clear answers or they are resolved. Status of various projects. Yes, we did discuss last meeting, but if there is any update on the Toth Center, anything moved or it is still standstill?
Right now, they're in the final phases of the well water testing. It's been, the numbers have been promising and they've been in the positive. So we're hoping that we'll start shortly, the construction portion of it.
Thank you. How about the jet field? Is that on schedule, or are we anticipating any additional change orders, or is anything happening there?
You're referring to the sports building?
Sports building, yes.
There may be some forthcoming minimal change orders.
Okay, but are we still on the schedule, or that's?
We are.
Okay.
Nothing has changed from the last change order, I believe November.
Okay. And the Stelton Community Center, where do we stand at this time?
So the remediation reports are being worked on. They're working on a draft. I was able to view that. Once that's done, then we're going to start implementation.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the new items, New Brunswick, Stelton, Plainfield. What's happening at that intersection? One, I know for sure, and thank you for providing that information, some 60,000 square feet warehouse, but now on the left-hand side, just across the shopping complex, it's fenced, trees are cut down. Is there any project that coming up there?
Are you referring to the corner over on 27 and Plainfield?
Yes, no, not 27. In front of Kilmer Cricket Field, just across.
Okay. I will follow up for you on that.
Thank you, because that intersection is really dangerous, and especially warehouse, and if something is coming up there. Co-obligation, I think, we missed the date, and I know that we were planning some June timeline to come up with some proposal. The reason I put this one as a discussion item is I did attend the Housing Authority meeting, and there was a discussion about possibly getting a credit of some 72 units for the co-obligation. So just want to understand where we stand as of today and what's our plan forward. The next one is water sewer infrastructure. This I will table it because I still need to see the budget, if there are any provisions for any improvements, and then I will have this question asked next council meeting. Road opening around Grove Avenue. There are a bunch of roads, inner roads. I know where your chief of staff also lives in that neighborhood. Entire neighborhood has been, I don't know, it's a utility company or water company. I don't know who ripped those apart.
I believe it was PSC&G, it may have been.
PSNG. Again, this is a classic, the way they did in Onamboy and the inner roads in Clara Barton section, exactly same thing is happening. And some of those roads were recently repaved. I don't know if you are really taking enough money in our escrow so that if they do the same thing what they are doing on Amber Avenue, it will help us. Can you please find out again? I'm very interested to understand the linear mileage. This is not going to fit now. It's going to be mileage. There are several roads, they were dug up. If you can please find out, that will help. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Patel? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to move on to Councilman Coyle for discussion items.
Thank you, Council President. Again, I will bring up at every meeting the importance of economic development. I'm asking the administration and the mayor and this council to continue to support the need for economic development in that position. We've waited over a year to fill that position. It is a very challenging position to find someone with all the skill set to recruit, follow up, and woo people into Edison for business. Today, I still think Stop and Shop is still vacant, or does anybody on this council have heard that Stop and Shop has been filled with a tenant? Having an empty grocery store is not good for Edison. I do believe that if we took some of the money from economic development and spent it in marketing, it's truly, truly a great opportunity. I had the chance to visit a beautiful restaurant that chose to move to the south end of Edison off of Woodbridge Avenue. Their company is called Quero, Q-E-R-O. They opened up a Peruvian restaurant. I would guess that they spent $750,000 plus on the build out of that location. And that is a true plus for that part of Edison. And if we continue to recruit others like them, we can make a huge change in that area. But again, it comes with marketing. So again, to the council president, to the administration, we need to spend money on marketing. And I'll say it time and time again how important it is. And I'm going to say it at every meeting. And I hope to fill vacancies that are throughout the town in retail stores and to see who wants to come to Edison. As most of you know, I've mentioned before, services are wonderful to have, but services don't make up a downtown. You really need specialty stores that bring the charm into Edison and throughout the town. We've been fortunate some parts of town grow different than others, and some parts of other towns grow faster depending on rent rolls and different strategic mathematics or geographic territories, or it's just rent, the cost of rent, and how do we get there. Changing subjects, also I'm asking the council president to the administration that we have a plan to spend the money we have on opioids, mental health, and suicide. And I hope that by June we have a plan that we're spending that money continuously with a good flow. I've mentioned before, each council member here has the choice to choose what they want to speak about, but it's my belief that if we had a top 10 of what to speak about, opioids and mental health and suicide is definitely one to talk about in the top 10. I listen to residents here time and time again as they walk through this town, and they know what opioids has done to their family, and has affected them, whether they're a sibling, a parent, or a member of the community or a close friend. So it's truly important we spend that money. Council President, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I did skip over Councilman Patel. No, but over to you.
Thank you, Council President. I do want to piggyback off of what Councilman Coyle said. I do agree with him that we do need an economic developer. For example, Woodbridge got Trader Joe's coming into that, what used to be Hobby Lobby or Bed Bath & Beyond. And that is something that we could have used in one of our Route 1 areas where it's shutting down. And it would have been good if we had someone pushing or asking businesses to come to our town. And so I think if we had someone, that would help. And now the other thing I wanted to talk about was the issue with the sports project, sports building, where we ran over. And one of the issues we had was we didn't have a central point person that saw the project go from the beginning to the end. And that is something I'm working with the engineering to come up with a checklist. They did provide a rough draft today, but I am not completely satisfied with the answer because I do want one person to be responsible from the beginning to the end. for any project that goes over $5 million. So that way we can have some sort of responsibility as to who's responsible for that particular issue, if there's any issues that arise. Another thing I wanted to talk about was bike path, open space. We discussed the Stephenville Parkway as a possibility for a future bike path that could connect the apartment or the townhomes to the library on North Branch. So that is something I'm working with engineering again. We will be meeting on Wednesday at noon to discuss that, and I'm hoping that we have some productive conversation. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Brescher?
Tanya, fire alarm. Are we nearing completion on that?
We're a couple weeks out.
All right, thank you. Park improvements. I noticed that we got the, we call it the illuminator. It said that we've done improvements to all the parks. I believe that statement is misleading. It makes you sound like we're doing something in the parks. For this entire administration, I was told that Polanski Park was going to get the basketball courts. In fact, that money was allocated in the prior administration. Polanski Park still has the one crooked basketball hoop with the old rip net in the parking lot, so the children get to play basketball on the one hoop in the parking lot. But the big improvement that the administration did do, and this is what I see throughout most of the town, is we got a new sign. So I believe that's misleading. You know, when we say we're doing something and we're making improvements, putting a sign up, in my mind, is not an improvement. So I'd like to see, when we put stuff out, if it could be a little bit more factual, maybe in that illuminator, but I'm going to come back to the illuminator later on. Crime. It was good to hear that the town is looking at the crime. It was good to see that we spent more money this year on our police to put them out there, I guess overtime or whatever, to take care of it. I do see that they're you know, in the report, I guess that the statistics are going to be changing. So whatever information we get now, we can't compare to the other data that was out there. The other data that was compared year over year was the same type of data. And that's unfortunate, because then we don't really know if there really is an improvement when you change how you're compiling your statistics, unless you keep that consistent year over year. So that is the one shame, but it's good to see that the administration now is taking crime serious. They're acknowledging that it is up and it is important. It's just unfortunate that we have more of these, and I call them home invasions, burglaries. It doesn't matter. When your private space is actually broken into, that's worse than a car, even if they're stealing the cars. I'm going to go down to the road openings on Grove or Mount Pleasant. I believe I received an email. I think engineering wasn't sure what I was talking about when I was talking about the road openings and how we're going to handle these. Do you need me to go around on let's say those two streets and give you the address for each one of these areas? I mean, I'll do it for, you know, like a mile, but it's the same issue I have throughout the town about these street openings.
Is your issue similar to Councilman Patil's?
Well, Councilman Patil is talking about the gas lines, of which I also had a concern. I was down on Heathcote the other day, and brand new road paved, right? And it's ripped up again by PSE&G, so half the road. Now, I'm assuming we're gonna end up patching them, or not patching them, but paving at least half the street. But throughout the rest of the town, I'm driving, and they're approximately 8 inches by 4 feet long. There might be 200 feet in between them, and they hop, skip along the roadways. Those are the ones. So we have brand new roads that are paved that were continuous, and then we have these new openings, and they weren't sealed the way that when Councilman Deal was on the dais with me, that we came up with the plan for paving those, where we were going to seal the edges even. But I was told that right when we open up the roads, they have to pave the whole area. So do you want me to go and,
No,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I'll follow up to see exactly where the utility is at this point.
Right, I just don't know, is that what they're leaving? Are they gonna repave the road? You know, what's going on with those?
Having it been newly paved, I think there's like a moratorium on it, so I'll follow up either 2 or 3 years on the repairs, especially if it's a newly paved road. So I'll follow up to see exactly where we are with PSC&G.
Well, I don't know, it's PSC&G, it could be the cable
I
company.
believe it is PSC&G that's in there doing the repairs. So, and if all else fails, I'll contact our regional representative to make sure that they are paying close attention to a newly paved road and that we expect it to be fully restored.
Okay. Right, they were in Clara Barton too. The affordable housing, I kind of spoke to. I'm going to grab Joe before I leave to, because I'm at a loss with some of the numbers there. The ADA compliant, Stelton. Stelton was a bit of an eye-opener, and I'd like to just say that we originally approved a $3 million bond, and what happened was I wanted to know what it was, so I went out to the site. I met Mr. Deal and Ray, and we walked through what we were going to get for $3 million. And what I was told was we were going to get a new roof, we were going to get new windows, and heating and air conditioning. And I asked about the flooring on the walls, and they said the flooring had asbestos, and we were going to encapsulate it and then put a new floor over the top of it. And the walls we were going to paint, you know, and spruce the place up so that we could open it and reuse it. Then when we got that grant, and this was wrong on my part, I guess. I mean, I guess I have to start reading things a little bit more thoroughly, because I thought the $3 million for the grant was to replace the $3 million that we were, you know, borrowing. I didn't realize we were going to do $6 million. And then the mayor made the statement of it being $9 million. So my concern is, why couldn't we open it to the public for the original $3 million, right? And then what's the plan now that we're going to spend an additional $6 million? And what am I getting that's different between the two? And if the entire council can get a copy of what that plan would be.
I will tell you from experience, when it comes to remediation of a building of that magnitude, you're looking at the millions just in remediation. I can't tell you exactly what that number looks like. I hope we're close to it. We're going to take a look at this draft report and hopefully get something to you in the next month or so, because that right there will tell you what that remediation cost will be. Everything else will be the painting in the interior, some of the grounds work that needs to get done. The roof did get repaired. The windows did get ordered. We needed to put the roof in right away just so that it would prevent further damage. You know that, you were there. So I will tell you from experience, a building like that's been closed that long, on remediation, you're talking about a couple. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just been past experience at the amount of just remediation that needs to get done.
Okay, I guess when we get the report, I'll revisit that. Okay. Then this one here, I asked our attorney at one point for us to look, but there's the illuminator. The illuminator overall, I do like. There's certain things I don't like about it, right? Like where we mislead the public about certain things that are being done. But I'd like to alert the administration and the public to this. And this is a news release from New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission, and it was released on January 17, 2025. It says, communications that do not contain explicit wording, will be subject to reporting under the following conditions. Now, this here was set up so that if a mayor or a council or any body was putting out material like this, that would give an unfair advantage to other people that would be running for office. So it was looked at as campaign material. And the 4 criteria that makes this a campaign material is the communication is made by or on behalf of a candidate within 90 days of an election, except in the case of a gubernatorial. So that would apply to the mayor, because he's on here, and for myself, because I'm a candidate, right? So it would apply to both of us that we would have to claim it. But you need 4 criteria. The second one is the communication is disseminated to an audience substantially compromised of individual eligible voters for the candidate, which is true. This goes out to the town residents, who are the ones that are going to vote for the new mayor. And that would still apply to myself and Sam as candidates. Number 3, the communication refers to governmental objectives and achievements of the candidate. And that's what this whole thing is about all the achievements. And then the final criteria is the communication is made with the cooperation or consent of the candidate. Now, that wouldn't apply to me, so I don't have all 4 of the criteria, which means it would have to be filed underneath my elect report because, well, I'm not asked for consent on this, and I'm not the candidate, but the mayor obviously is. So under New Jersey election law, he's required to put this on his campaign finance report. I'd like to see that, I guess, at his next election report. And as I spoke to Mr. Deal, there's a reason why we've been asking for the cost of the printing, the cost of the mailing, and this is predominantly the reason. And I don't think we've ever gotten a total cost or a breakdown, so I'd like to have that, being that I just read to you about this law, for tomorrow before our Wednesday's meeting. And I think you guys should be able to pull up what the mailing cost, the printing cost, whatever associated costs are with it. And that would do it for myself tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Council Vice President?
Thank you, Council President. I'm actually going to hold off tonight. Thank you.
And Councilman Patil, you had one more item?
Yeah, one more item. Actually, I did receive the Calvert Grove traffic study report, through Council President, question to administration. What is our plan of action now next? There are recommendations. There are 3 options they were evaluated: the left turns, right turns, the blinking light, and the permanent signal light. And the recommendation was signal light. But do we know, are we planning to, first question, can this traffic study be put into the public domain? Because residents are asking, what is the outcome? Is that okay to share with them?
I think that's fine, Councilman. Actually, as part of our policy, and I also discussed this with other requests, for example, the Glencourt one that Councilman Coyle requested, is that once we do these reports, we need to put letters out to residents so that they understand and that they speak out for or against whatever it is they feel is necessary for their neighborhood that directly affects them. So that it would be the next step, would be to inform the residents and to have a some sort of public forum so that they would be able to be heard and that we could take that feedback. Because some people, as you know, may not want some of those suggestions. Some one, maybe not any of. So we'll have to, that would be the next step.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Patel?
I actually had a question for the councilor. So I was looking at the pamphlet that Councilman Brusher was referring to. It says political communication that explicitly appeal for votes to elect is considered political communication. So would the eliminator be considered such?
In my opinion, no. It would not be a political campaign piece, and that would not be subject to ELEC. However, this body has no jurisdiction on those matters whatsoever. If Councilman Brusher, if you believe that there's been a violation of campaign finance law, the proper body to raise that would be before the New Jersey ELEC Commission. They would hear such complaints. It is my opinion, though, my humble opinion, that there is no violation, that in every community, in every municipality that I have the privilege to work for, the mayor doesn't stop being mayor while he runs for reelection. And every elected official that I know that does a similar publication doesn't stop doing it during the election season.
Thank you. Thank you for the edification.
Council President?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to respond to that. I know our attorney, we disagree, right? I mean, you guys made the flag ban. I disagreed with it then. You brought national attention to us. So there's good reason why I question. But, you know, when I read this, it is very clear that this new release is meant to stop this from doing exactly what David said, was that for years, mayors have used this, or council, right, elected officials have used this as a political tool to help get themselves elected. And it is very clear right here. And I did speak to election law about this. And to them, it's not a big deal. It should just be filed on his campaign report. Where my concern then grows is that since the elect's going to expect it to be there, that would mean it was part of an election, which means it should be paid back. Just like when I looked at his campaign finances, we've talked many times about taking the police to Chicago, and we've heard that he paid the money back, but it was never shown in his elect report. So the concern there is, was it actually deposited? Where was that check? Because he's not showing it in his campaign account either. So it's opened up a lot of questions to the mayor and how he's running his election here, and whether he's doing it with taxpayer dollars or not. And by elect, it looks like it is. Feel free to call him and ask him. Thank you.
Okay, anything further on this? Okay. I had just the one item, which is about the Resident Advisory Committee that I want to establish, and we're kind of getting on in the year. I would like to get this going. I'm still without a chair for this committee, and I prefer not to take that on myself. If I have to, I will, because I think it's an important committee. But I wanted to find out if there's anyone who would be willing to take this committee on.
I'll be happy to take on.
That would be
That was
great.
one of the proponent to have the residents involved in
Yes.
some of the other aspects.
Yes, great. That's excellent. All right. And so I think we can open up the applications then for this committee, and you can work with the people. So we're talking about, my idea was 2 people from Clara, 2 people from North, 2 people from South. Does that work for you? Okay. All right, great. So is there a way, Cheryl, to advertise that applications for this committee are open?
Sure. I mean, do you have a criteria of what you just will draft an ad? I mean, and then you
Yeah.
just see it. So you want residents, 2 from the south, 2 from the north,
And 2 from Clara.
Clara Barnett, to participate, to be on the committee.
Yes,
and
and
advisory.
the chair will be Councilman Patil. Okay, very good.
Council President, if I
Yes.
may, we can certainly assist with posting on the website.
Great.
Certainly, and do an email blast that way.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilman Patil, for being willing to take this on. That's great. All right. I'm sorry? Yeah, no. Stop. All right, we are now about to go into closed session with litigation matters. Clerk, can you read the closed session resolution into record?
Whereas Article 6 of Open Public Meeting provides that the public body public body holds a closed session, and whereas the Township Council will, during this meeting, enter in discussion for the following matters: litigation matters for multifamily and Sage. Whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session are to remain in the strictest of confidence of all council members in their furtherance of their fiduciary duties to the Township of Edison. Now therefore be resolved, matters discussed at this meeting will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing and act upon them no longer exist.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Thank you very much. I don't believe we have any, excuse me, sir, you are out of order. You are out of order. You are out of order. I'm going to ask you to leave right now. I'm asking you to leave. You are out of order. All right, we're going into closed session. Oh, okay. Should we start again?
Motion to reconvene.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And now motion to,
Motion to adjourn.
all right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. We are adjourned at 7:42 PM. Thank you very much.
Joe, you want me to take that?
All right. Now, I've got this.